Hey, welcome to Greenlight. So today we're talking about the new Blu-ray releases of this week, as well as special features and what comes with the special features. We talk about like filmmaking stuff that you can learn from each documentary and or little making of, promotional making ofs. Sometimes they'll show you some really cool stuff. So this week we have Ad Astra. We got a good amount of movies actually. We have Ad Astra. We've got Downton Abbey finally came out with their movie on Blu-ray with their big hit, and then Rambo, Last Blood, as well as Abominable. So that's like four big major movies. So just stay here, and we're gonna start right now. So so we're here. I'm just checking really quick here to find um, the one that I can't find. It seems like is the Rambo Last Blood. With that being said, like before we get started here, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know about videos like this every week. I also do a lot of filmmaking tips videos, as well as some future short tutorials on how to use a program called Blender and many other free filmmaking programs that you can use now coming in the within the coming months, especially in 2020. We're gonna go all out and find out all the free programs you can use to become basically the next Spielberg. So stay tuned for that. Um, let's see here. A first film we're going to talk about is Ad Astra. So this is the Blu-ray 4K. Me and my wife watched this, and it was really, really good. I haven't seen a movie as good as this when it comes to like space travel. Um, just like basically Interstellar is the only thing it comes to mind recently. There's you know everyone thinks of 2001 for sure. 2001 is my favorite. I'm just drinking some water. The ice, sorry. I moved the microphone away. Um, so we got the back end here, but yes, 2001 is what I think about a lot when it comes to like movies like this with space travel. I can't seem to find any back end for Last Blood of Rambo. I haven't heard anything as it if it was doing bad or good or anything like that, but we're gonna just move on with the show anyway. As I see the back end here for Ad Astra, though, thanks to Bluray.com, courtesy of Bluray.com. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been on that site. Let's see. I'm going to zoom in here. We got, right off the bat, we got some deleted scenes with optional commentary. I'm just going to make a point here, the back part of this. Aesthetically, it almost, in a weird way, it almost looks like Interstellar in the back too. I think the color scheme's a little different. Maybe it's darker or something like that, but I forget what it looks like in the back, but it just looks very similar. But the movie itself is very, very clever in the way of what year it came out, and then like the year that it takes place and all that, and there's a bunch of things on the moon that is really cool. They're just pretending like we've always been on the moon, and now people travel there for vacation. It's pretty interesting. The movie's not about that, but it passes right through it, and it's just a regular world type of stuff. So going into the behind the scenes here, I'm sure they're going to talk a lot about the story here. So I see right off the bat, I see deleted scenes with optional commentary by James Gray. He is one of the directors of episodes for House of Cards, um, and even he directed uh, the last two 50 Shades of Grey movies. So I know he directed those last two as well. But this movie is phenomenally better than those two movies. In a sense, they were fairly good um, and well directed films. But his better work is in House of Cards. So back to this here, I see To the Stars. So that's definitely going to talk about um, making like making their way into space and how they were gonna create all that. I'm hoping that Into the Stars they'll kind of get into what happened on the moon if you've seen this film, and if you have, let me know in the comments below. I really, really, really highly enjoyed this film, including my wife. We really, really was into this. Definitely for a Blu-ray, uh, for my Blu-ray collection. I thoroughly enjoy Brad Pitt, so he's cool. He he really gets in depth with his characters. So the next thing I see, a man named Roy. Um, I forget if his name's Roy. I think it's Roy. Yeah, Brad Pitt. So basically, Brad Pitt's gonna talk about his character in A Man Named Roy. So a man named Roy is basically about his character and um, getting into the astronaut field because his dad did back in the day, and then he's basically the movie is ambiguous. I like that we didn't know too much about it. I didn't want to watch too many trailers after I saw that first one, and I was really making sure that because nowadays they give so much away in these trailers that it's just like there's a thing with him and his father and his relationship with his father and his relationship through this avenue of space travel and what his father did in space travel as well. So that's as ambiguous. I hope that was ambiguous enough, and it won't give anything away. But definitely something to look out for if you're even watching this on like Redbox or anything like that. Nowadays, I'm not putting any more Amazon links in the bottom, just so you know. None of that's happening. You'll find IMDb links, so you can find out more about this film and the other films that I'm talking about here today. Okay, so our next thing is the crew of the Cepheus. Not sure how to pronounce that. I'm sure I butchered that, but basically, they're probably going to go over all the actors that are in his crew throughout the film. Um, so I'm sure you're gonna talk to more actors and everything like that. That's good. Stuff like that is great for directors, especially like A Man Named Roy. Brad Pitt's gonna get really into talking about his character and his changes and all that stuff. All that's really good, so you know what actors are looking for. Because I'm sure there's actors out there watching this as well, and they're learning, through these documentaries like I have growing up. So check that out. And then the next thing I see is the art of Ad Astra. This is cool. So I'm sure they're gonna go into the art direction, the locations, all the sets, and even the lighting. They could talk about the lighting. The lighting in this is pretty cool. The lighting in this, there's a part I believe they went to Mars, but the lighting in this is very clever, and they did, you know, a lot of it just goes with the story and stuff like that. So I don't want to give too much away because I was just about to say some stuff. So I'm just moving on. Reach for the Stars. Um, that one could be a toss-up, I believe, because it's like To the Stars and stuff. So Reach for the Stars. It could be an inspirational type of video. I'm not. Let me. It's 20th Century Fox and Regency, so it could they could be surprising. Could be like 20 minutes each one of these. little documentaries. Since they've said all the names and they didn't say anything about a documentary or anything. Hey, Logan, be nice. Logan. Be nice. He just wants to bang on stuff now. Okay, point made. So, the next, I'm just gonna go on to the next film then, basically. But these little documentaries about the stars, they could just talk about, since there's two of them, they could just be talking about our future in space travel from now until into the future, and see where we're going. There's some cool stuff with like Tesla's doing some interesting stuff with SpaceX. So yeah, so this is cool. This is like a little glimpse into the future, which is why I quote 2001 on this one. All right, our next film we'll be talking about is Downton Abbey. This is my sister's favorite show. I wonder if she saw this movie. I'm gonna have to ask her about that. But it looks good. The cast is incredible and extensive. I have the back end here for this one as well, courtesy of Bluray.com, but I don't think I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna show you the deluxe edition because it has the same cover in the back end for the deluxe edition. So I'm gonna show you that one. Because we're all about special editions and special features here. So my favorite types are usually like collector's editions. Why did it do that? Oh, so weird. All right, so let's go right here. I'm sorry about his banging. He's just banging on stuff now. He's in the terrible threes. All right, so this is the front end here. So Downton Abbey, and they have a little booklet from what it seems as well. Like I always say, this is a deluxe limited edition. So a limited edition means they might not even have this for too long out there. So let's bring in the back end here, because they've got a good amount of special features. And for anybody that's looking for directing and looking into directing and making their own films, one of the first things I believe that you should focus on is story and acting, directing your actors and what to say to your actors and what actors are looking to hear from you about character, because they could be thinking the same thing or around about the same thing, and then you bring up something that makes them think a little out of the box, and a little different about their character. This is a Universal Studios releasing, so they could have a good amount. And since this was very, very, a very popular film, this is something that I recommend. This film made a lot of money for what it was worth in the theaters. In the theaters, they didn't expect to make this amount of money. Usually, TV to like a motion picture is a big leap for them. But Sex and the City, I guess, found success, and this is very popular amongst women. So, and my sister, so I'm sure they all watched it. Let's see. So the first thing that I see here is some deleted scenes, and then upstairs and downstairs cast conversations. Ooh, right off the bat, we're getting some cast conversations. So they're all going to talk about their characters. This is not like a big, highly special effects type movie. The special effects here are the acting, the drama, the lighting, most likely, and the direction. So something definitely check out, like a theater play. It's going to be chock filled with stuff. It looks like they got a bunch of little mini documentaries. So I'm already automatically guessing and predicting because it's Universal. It could be like 20 to 30 minutes each one, or they could be a little longer. Some of them could be longer than others. I'm only saying this because this movie did very, very well in the box office, so I'm sure they're going to release a lot of behind the scenes stuff or really try to make it extensive. And then this says 30 minutes of bonus features, like 30 minutes plus here. So I see 30 minutes plus of bonus features, bonus content. So like expect that this is gonna be closer to 40 minutes each one. So it could happen that way, unless of bonus content. Yeah. Okay. So I'm dissecting this a little bit more and thinking about this a little better. Yeah, that's gonna be each one. They could be 30 minutes or more right off the bat, and I'm glad they're saying that here. I doubt they watch my show, but that's really cool. They're starting to tell you how long it's gonna be. Usually, if it's over, an hour or two, they usually don't say anything if it's not like an hour and a half or 2 hour documentary or something like that. They usually say like 2 to 3 hour, 3 hours of bonus features and stuff like that. So really cool. Something definitely to check out. So the royal visit I see here. They're gonna go a little more in depth in the story and in the world. I don't really watch the show, so I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that, but I'm sure it goes extensive about the characters and the stories. The true, what is it? True to the 20s, 1920s is when this movie takes place. So that's definitely art direction and maybe even wardrobe. So that's another one to check out for that. Welcome to Downton Abbey. So this is definitely more of like along the lines of the wordings that you hear when they're, pertaining to like a making of or a behind the scenes, what you see on like these Blu-rays and DVDs. So when you see all of those things, usually they're like 20, 30 minutes type of stuff. This is obviously 30 minutes plus. So this is a little bit more of a commercialized version of it. This could be a little longer, 30, 40 minutes. So they could go really extensive in the behind the scenes and how they created some of the scenes, maybe even some of the shots for some takes and for some like scenes and stuff like that. So our next thing is the Brilliance of Julian Fellows. I believe Julianne Fellows. Sorry, I believe she wrote the series and wrote this film as well. Oh, my son's saying hi to mommy. That's why he's so quiet. um, Downton Abbey series recap. Oh, I'm sure you're gonna. Sorry about that. I'm sure you're gonna need that if you've seen the series and it's been a while since the movie had come out. So that's a great recap, so you know where things left off and what had happened in the series. Okay, so we're gonna move on to another one here. We got Rambo. I don't have the back end here for Rambo, at least an official one. So let me know in the comments below. If you do, I wouldn't mind doing like a recap next week for this one because it was a little difficult trying to find that. There could be it's Lionsgate too, so I'm not sure or not, but probably isn't. There probably isn't any behind the scenes or anything like that. But if there is, let me know in the comments below. I've got. Ooh. I'm gonna bring in another one here. Logan with the cookie. Where is it? Here we go, download. And the downloads, oh well. The quality's not perfect at all. Oh, that sucks. Alright, so this is the steel bookcase that you're gonna find in Best Buy. Not too good of a quality, so I'm gonna move on to Abominable is our next one here. And there's documentaries here. Is there? Oh, so two short films. Usually you see things like this when movie didn't do like perfect. I thought the movie was good. We ended up going to see it and we had to walk out because my son's attention span is very, very short, and we kind of wasted all of it on trailers, I guess, if you can say. But this film's out. There's a little behind the scenes here. It looks like animating Abominable. I'd love to check that out myself. There's a lot of things that I'm learning now when it comes to Blender, and I'm trying to delve into more of the modeling and the artistic side sometimes. So at first it's like you go through like theory of film or theory of what you're trying to learn. So I was learning a lot of like theory of animation and just seeing if I could even like wrap my brain around the whole 3D CG, even VFX stuff. So that was all encompassing in the beginning, and just because I found Blender and it was a free program, it's still a free program. So I've been exploring even more, and then went to school using tutorials like crazy, and then going from tutorials kind of going into now I'm lately I've been thinking of looking back and looking at these documentaries of movies. This is where like it comes full circle for me, especially on this show. And I just kind of like realized this recently. It's just that coming back now and the mentality of looking at the theory again and how to, the thought process of just watching the thought process of creating original characters or original stories and stuff like that. Seeing them go through it is a big deal, because now I have the tool, and now you can go right back to theory, and then understanding your story, and then trying to use the tools for that instead of working the other way, and working only through the tool and only doing what you know with the tools. Try to not limit yourself, always push yourself. Even though you haven't tried it doesn't mean you can't succeed at it. So check that out on animating Abominable, and then Your Yeti Care Guide. So these are the Your Yeti Care Guide. I'm sure it's a little more of a like a special video for Abominable towards kids, and expanding the world a little bit more. I wonder if that's one of the shorts. It says and more, but then there's two original shorts. So and more could be like like trailers and stills of like their pencil drawings of the characters and all that. So check that out. This is definitely something to check out if you're into animation and storytelling in general, especially with animation and what kids are looking for with these cartoons. Because if it's not educational, it's like, what are we, showing them, right? So let me know in the comments below if you checked out this film. Like I said, we got like halfway through the beginning of it, and then we've been. I think we're gonna see this again soon. It's not that he didn't like it; he enjoyed everything with the Yeti. Just once we went to the girl, he was just kind of like, I guess this is not for me anymore. When does the Yeti come back? But it's a little bit more half and half, an adult movie to, a kid's film. So moving on to our next film here, our next Blu-ray release. This is a Christian faith releasing type film. There's a lot of these dramas coming out. They're great. This one's called The Overcomer, right? From the Kendrick brothers. I'm not sure what else they've done, but there was one with like firefighters and stuff like this. I think I mentioned it before here on this channel. I've mentioned this before as I was seeing more of these come out. I think we saw one recently with football players and stuff like that. I'm telling you, this is really, really needed in this world. Faith movies are very, very needed right now, especially these faith drama movies that are getting a little more realistic than they used to. A little bit more hardcore. Maybe I have a couple in mind of myself that are a little more hardcore than these movies. These are a little more like commercially safe type films, if that makes sense. But I like that they're doing that because this is something definitely needed in this world right now. I couldn't stress that enough. But we're gonna move on. Thanks to the holidays, we got a holiday film. I think it's a comedy though. I believe this is um, like an R-rated comedy, something. It says Feast of Seven Fishes. Wow. Yeah, Feast of Seven Fishes. Um, it it's a comedy. It doesn't say the rating of it on IMDb. Huh. It had a $1 million budget. Mm, I think this is unrated. So yeah, it goes on to saying what I was saying. Unrated, you could kind of chalk it up as like um, that it's also like R-rated film. Um, I could just be missing it. Where is it? Oh, slice of a slice of life story that follows a large Italian family on Christmas Eve as they prepare for traditional feast of the seven fishes, reminiscence about the reminisce about the past and seek love in the future. Um, yeah, so it could be an R-rated comedy. It could be PG-13. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts if you've seen this film. So we're gonna move on and go to our next film real quick here. The next one is called Trick. It's a horror film. Ooh, from the directors of My Bloody Valentine. There we go. And then you see here. So I haven't seen this film at all, and I haven't seen this next film either. Our next film is Acceleration, which is something that I'm looking to do right now on this show because time is going by, and a lot of these here don't have special features anymore. Like they just don't have any behind the scenes anything. I don't have the back end to Acceleration nor to Trick. If there is, let me know in the comments below. I really like talking about these kinds of things, especially when it comes to like lower budget films like these that get a lot of like interesting, ways of making a film. So here's Where's My Roy Cohn. So that, yeah, Blue's Clues. Aren't you watching it over there? Mm-hmm. Okay, he's watching Blue's Clues on an iPad and on TV. Well, Nick Jr. I guess they show other stuff too. So this is a documentary. Where's My Roy Cohn? Um, I don't know what this is exactly about, but let me know in the comments below if you've seen this documentary. Looks interesting. And we got our next film here called Spider in the Web. Spider in the Web. It looks interesting because I see Ben Kingsley here, and I love Ben Kingsley. Like, he could be in anything, and I'll still watch it. So I'll definitely gotta check this out. Again, there's no behind the scenes or anything that I know about. There's no like back end to this Blu-ray, but this is now out, and let me know in the comments below if you've seen this film. Our next documentary, which does have a back end here, this is called Prey, and what I know about this film is that it's basically about it's something interesting because me and my wife are starting to watch Ray Donovan because our friends keep telling us, like, shout outs to my friend Jabari, like he is always mentioning that, and my wife's dad too is watched all of it, so he's all caught up to it, and it's still, I think they're on their 5th season now, but we're closing in hopefully at the end of the 1st season. But basically, it's about it's a little bit more mafia based, the show, but this is not about that. This is about what happens to them when they were younger, which is they were molested by like priests and stuff like that. So this is a very touchy subject, and this is a documentary about that. So it's like almost a play on words, the pray, praying on somebody or praying, to God and stuff. And it's really a slight to God of what they do, to these children. So I recommend, letting people know about it. It's I'm not in for just knowing about this and having my son is enough. I really am not gonna watch this documentary. It's just not for me. Nowadays, there's so much content out there that you don't really have to do all that, and watch anything that just is not. Even though you know about it, doesn't mean that you need to, like, revel in the pain. Just spread the message of trying to help these kids and help everybody involved. So we learn from our mistakes and everything like that. So I'm trying to get myself back on here. So with this being said, there's obviously there's some changes going on my channel. I'm not selling any more Amazon stuff. The last thing I'm doing with Amazon is going to be this next video of Essential series, which we're talking about what is bitrate. So look out for that. I'll have it, linked up over here, and in the bottom over here, I'll have, any, like, one of my good Blu-ray hunting videos or really cool Blender stuff sometimes shows up there. So, look out for that. So this week on Friday, the Essential series, What is Bitrate, will be out. So please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And the subscribe button's right over here. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you here next week. Later.